Click. Sidestepping a pink and yellow buttercup that had poked up through a crack in the concrete, dewdrops glistening on its petals, Betsy pushed the empty feeling away. Today was for happy thoughts. As she neared the intersection, she recited the first line of her story over and over because teacher said the opening was so important. It had to grab a reader and pull, like reeling in a fish. Betsy was so caught up in her words, she didn't notice the car waiting for the moment she crossed the street. She didn't hear the engine ripping toward her until it was too late. As the shiny black cricket bounced from her hand, Betsy knew she should have worn the purple. Today was the last important day of her life. Houston Police Department, Accident Division. Recorded interview, January 4th. I felt the bump and looked in my rearview mirror at the body lying beside the road. I honestly thought the killing would end there. Chapter 1. Wednesday, December 23rd, Houston, Texas. From the 47th floor of the grandiose Transco Tower, the law offices of Richards, Blackman, and Drake command a panoramic view of the city. Dixie Flanagan scarcely noticed the view as she pushed through the mahogany doors. Pine needles clung to her denim jacket from shouldering a Christmas tree into the back of her pickup, and her hands smelled of pine sap. A janitor, lazily mopping an inch of water off the women's restroom floor, had refused to let her enter, even the men's, and Belle Richards' message had said, "Hurry." Pausing at the receptionist's desk, Dixie tossed a green and red handful of Hershey's Hugs on a document the woman was proofing. The military strict assistant glanced up. "Cheers, Sergeant," Dixie grinned. The woman's scowl lifted almost a centimeter. "What's cheery about adding another damned inch to my hips?" The law firm had hired receptionist Sally Grimm, former martial arts instructor, after a client stormed through the offices hell-bent on shooting the firm's senior partner. Such mayhem would never happen on Sergeant Grimm's watch. Today, Dixie couldn't resist trying to break through the woman's armor. After all, 'twas the season to be jolly. Didn't that include stone-faced door wardens? Leaning across the desk, Dixie lowered her voice. "A copulation consultant once told me a woman's chances of getting laid increase proportionately with the size of her derriere." Grimm's thin lips twitched at the corners, then rippled into a tight, reluctant smile. Dixie beamed back at her, dropping a few more candies on the desk. As she continued down the hall, she heard a low chuckle, followed by the sound of a foil wrapper ripping open. Turning the brass handle to Belle's office, Dixie found the defense attorney on the phone, pacing behind her desk. High heels thumped into plush gray carpet, marking cadence with a Muzak version of Little Drummer Boy. Attractive, 40-ish, and tough as boot leather, Belle Richards had once been described by Fortune magazine as Texas's hottest female lawyer. Today, Belle looked rattled. Her hair sprigged out where she'd been running fingers through it. Her lipstick was bitten off, and her white silk blouse had a coffee stain on the left tit. Dixie shed her jacket and settled into a red leather guest chair. She hoped the attorney hadn't put her heart and soul into another case that was going sour. She and Belle had been friends since law school, and normally Dixie didn't mind rallying forces to help slay a few legal dragons, but at Christmas time, family outranked even the best of friends. On the long elevator ride to the 47th floor, Dixie had practiced 17 ways of saying no. Ending her conversation with a "thanks anyway," Belle cradled the phone and pushed an open file across the desk. "You're going to think I'm crazy, Flanagan. Dan and I left the courthouse together only 3 hours ago, but I think he's skipped." Dixie glanced.